So you guys still have resources coming in
Mm-hmm.
as far as water, food. I see a lot of private private organizations coming in and cooking hot meals. Um,
Yep. And a lot
uh,
of the local places too. Like within the community, like the local restaurants that actually can, they're doing that. And it's like donation based. A lot of the breweries are doing that. And it's so any place that is within the community that can do it is actually doing it. It's supporting with the hot meals or just supporting with however they can, and most of it's donation based. Some of them are starting to ask for sale. Like, you can't blame them, right? It's their livelihood too. This is
yeah,
how they live.
yeah.
um
They've got to pay for the product.
exactly. But there
What's
are,
the
oh,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, but there are also tons of other organizations that have actually made their way in here, small organizations that have made a huge freaking difference. Huge difference. Um, that fuel place out of Texas.
Out of Houston. Yep, there was tankers coming up from a company out of Houston that was just filling up everybody's vehicles and gas cans free of charge. They'd
Yep.
be set up in a parking lot. You'd pull up. They had the be able to pump it directly into your car from the tanker. You didn't have to get out. There would be people helping with that.
Yep.
Because that was also a big thing was there was no gas cans in the area to buy.
No.
Even down to Greenville, South Carolina, when my brother went down there to get supplies, they were all out of gas cans.
Mm-hmm.
There was certain things that this area just didn't have generators, the gas cans to get the fuel, a lot of little things that once the power went out, everybody was in oh shit mode. How do we
Mm-hmm.
actually do this? Because yeah, we had luckily filled up our vehicle the day or two prior, so we almost had a full tank of gas. But everybody else around here were on like quarter of a tank.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to the point where I think we only had 2 cars that had enough gas to actually get into town. There was 3 that were on E, and it was like a
Yep.
shit. How do we actually get them
Yeah,
fueled up?
because you guys were also starting your cars to keep your cell phones
Yes.
charged.
Yes.
So let's not forget about that. It's not like you had anywhere to go, but you guys needed to charge your cell phones. And the
But
only
the
way to do that was to start your cars.
Well, sorry for the technical difficulties. We lost internet as we were just talking about how reliable it had been the last couple of days, and it decides to shit the bed on us. So
We freaking jinxed it.
it has been fucking going. I swear to God. Like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, I'm impressed that we got to go as long as we have.
I know. I know.
I mean,
Just
this is
just a quick note, the fuel place that I pulled up, that I wanted to make sure and take pictures. I started trying to take pictures of some of the resources so I can make sure and call them out. Suncoast Resources out of Texas, the emergency fuel company. So yeah, that's the place that we were talking about. They were up with us for almost a week, and I tell you what, these people are awesome. They're compassionate. They were apologizing that they had to leave because they had to leave to go down to Florida. They were called down to Florida for Milton. We kept on telling them, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We're just blessed to have you here for the time that you were. And I mean, it was like no questions. We just line up and they're like, okay, fill up your tank. Got any cans? Da 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 da. They could tell.
and that was all free.
Yes.
Yep.
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 They are all free.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just that one tank of gas, saving you $25 doesn't seem like a lot, but at this moment it is. We can't express our gratitude for everything.
Yep. The Cajun Navy.
Yep.
Oh my God, they were awesome.
And they're
Cajun
still
Navy
working.
2016.
Mm-hmm.
They were I think they were one of the first ones in there.
Mm-hmm.
Doing rescues.
Mm-hmm.
They just, and there was also, they also organized a lot of private companies that own helicopters, or people that just own helicopters for their own personal use. They were organizing. They put out a post that they were needing more people with helicopters to come in to do rescues and airdrops and stuff like that. And the amount of people that responded responded to them. Another one that I'd like to do a big shout out to was Greg Biffle. He's a NASCAR race car
Yes.
driver.
I was just about to call
He,
him out because we actually saw his helicopter
Saw him a few
that first
times.
Saturday and Sunday. That was one of the first helicopters we did see. Was a kind of a lighter blue helicopter we saw flying
yeah,
around the area that weekend right after the storm hit. And then shortly
yeah,
after that was when it was just constant helicopters. You could tell both private, um, some military,
Mhm.
but a lot of private ones. A
Mhm.
couple of news choppers the first couple of days, and that was kind of a, quite honestly, fuck you. Trying to
yeah,
just not even do anything, just trying to film the shit. Like we understand
yeah,
people need to know what's going on, but help,
Well,
help people. You're flying around. You're
yeah,
seeing people needing fucking help. Why don't you goddamn do that? Everybody else was doing it. So that
yeah,
definitely, the first couple of days, I had hit rock bottom emotionally, physically. I was at the lowest point. Literally moved down here after losing everything in New Hampshire for the fresh start, and then we lost all of our belongings. The only things that we do have is I've got about a week's and a half worth of clothes in our bedroom right now. Luckily, all the stuff that I was trying to sell on eBay is in our bedroom right now. But other than that, a lot of the stuff is destroyed. And I had hit rock bottom. I was so pissed, so much rage, just so much. Why? What the fuck? We cannot catch a goddamn break.
mm,
This was supposed to be our fresh start. And now it's,
yeah,
you have to start over with nothing. Everything that we worked for to try to get down here, the stuff that was important to us, that's the stuff that was lost. And so when I saw the news choppers flying around, I was just like, you fucking douchebags. I almost pulled out my gun and started shooting at them just for the fucking fun of it. I just so much rage, so much hatred. But then when I was able to go around town and realize that we're at least alive, you know, I still admit,
yeah,
still angry, still trying to just dig myself out of this funk, just this feeling completely hopeless, not even sure what we're going to do. But we know that there's a next step. We're just trying to figure out what that next step is. But seeing the outpouring of support from so many private organizations, so many citizens, that's the
across the
other that's
country,
the other thing I want to
Canada,
reiterate is it's the private organizations and the citizens that have helped us out
mm.
dramatically.
Mhm.
Um,
Another one I
FEMA,
want to do a big shout
FEMA,
out to.
FEMA, fuck you,
Yeah,
you fucking cunts. Fuck you. We're still getting fucking denied for any goddamn support. Even to this day, we have not gotten any support from FEMA. Sorry to go on this random tirade, but it just sort of,
please do, please do.
fuck you, you goddamn douchebags. You're not doing anything to fucking help. You're making everything so much goddamn harder here on the ground. And this is the first time I've really been able to actually voice this to anybody other than Amanda.
Mhm.
Uh,
Well,
where
I'll
the
tell
fuck
you
is that?
what.
Where's the fucking help from them? Everybody's been out of work for weeks. Everybody's lost everything. And what do we get? We get $750 that you have to jump through fucking hoops to get. I don't know how many,
More
I've heard
money.
more stories of people getting denied and having to find a FEMA worker in town to try to get an answer for, rather than them actually trying to help us at this time of fucking need. They're making it so goddamn difficult.
Mhm.
My brother got denied instantly. So many other people just getting denied. Fuck you, you goddamn government. You wonder why we all hate you? Because of shit like this. The goddamn time of need when we fucking need a little bit of help. All we need is fucking boots on the ground to listen to the goddamn locals and say, hey, there are people on this mountain stuck. Go help us dig them out. rather than let's all get together and figure out what we need to do. Oh, you guys that are cutting down those trees, don't do that. That is our job. We're supposed to do that. You don't need to do that. We might not, it might be a couple days till we get that road cut out, but we'll get to it. But you don't fucking do it. So that story that people might have heard about a FEMA worker getting the shit kicked out of him and getting thrown into a ditch, that's a true story. Because the motherfucker was running his mouth and wasn't letting people take care of their fellow fucking neighbors. So you know what? Sorry, FEMA official. Almost sorry you're still breathing right now. That's how much rage that there is around this area. And the only thing is the love of the fellow neighbors, the love that we're getting from fellow citizens around the country. When we went onto that Facebook page and saw that post, Jane, that you made, in the outpouring of support that we got from the listeners, we just sat there and cried because it was like, at least there are people that actually do care about us.
Yeah.
Nobody that actually is making goddamn decisions in this fucking country and in this area. But at least the people that live in this country are showing support and are knowing the dire situation that we're in.
Yeah.
How do you guys think your governor's doing?
I haven't heard any. We haven't been able to hear much. We still are kind of cut off. By the time we actually got back on to being able to see the news, we're kind of an afterthought. You're getting the tail ends of the articles, so or haven't really been able to hear much of what is happening from the State House. And now we're still freshly down here, so I don't even know who the governor is. I just moved here. I still need GPS to find my way into most areas of Swannanoa. So as far as the local government and all that stuff is concerned, I don't know too much about them and what they truly have been doing. But as far as the town officials,
the problem is, and where I'm getting frustrated, is you guys still need help down there rescuing people, getting resources to people that their roads to their homes are still freaking washed out.
Yep.
They still can't. It's not that they want to leave their homes. They want to stay in their homes. The ones that have their homes that are still there.
Yes.
They just need resources brought to them.
Yes.
Because they have no way in or out to their homes. So what everybody is wanting is help with resources getting to these isolated areas, because down there is an enormous amount of isolated areas. Roads going up the hills, just back roads everywhere. And it's very isolated in many, many areas up there. So it is hard to get there because of trees being down across the roads, because of roads being washed out, and so on. So all you guys are asking for is more resources for help to get to people, to help to do possible rescues. That's what you guys are asking for. And people are like, oh, well, they have to be patient. FEMA's on their way. Well, no, they don't need to be patient. Why? And they're like, oh, you guys are, now this is the best part of it. You guys have no communication to the outside world. You don't know what they're saying on the news. You don't know what the news conferences are. You don't know what our president of the United States is saying, or the vice president of the United States is saying. You guys don't know what Trump is saying. And when I post, these people still need help, and they're like, oh, they're so sick and tired of the miscommunication out there, the misinformation out there. And they're like, oh, keep listening to Trump. Keep listening to Trump. Trump's spreading all this misinformation. No, Trump is not spreading misinformation.
We're telling you what we have encountered over the last 2.5 weeks, not what the fucking media is telling you what's going on.
Exactly. Exactly. You guys don't know what Trump has been saying. So everybody is like, oh, Trump is spewing all this misinformation. Well, you know what? Maybe the information he's spewing is true because he's literally listening to the people in ground zero. He's literally listening to the people that are actually telling him this information. So why is it misinformation? Because he's saying it?
Mhm.
Come on, people. This is really what is going on. And I am hearing this from people that are actually there.
Right.
And I'm so, right now, Harris and Biden are not owning up to what the hell is going on down there. They are trying to make it look like they are sending all these resources to you guys. You guys have everything you need. And it's because of them. It's because of FEMA. You know, back when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, it took FEMA 2 weeks to get there.
Mhm.
And the first thing that Trump said was defund FEMA.
Mm.
Give the resources and the money to these private organizations that are literally there the day after doing something. Not FEMA that doesn't show up for a week or two and decide they want to take over and make everything worse. Why are we funding FEMA? Why don't we start funding these private organizations? Another organization I want to do a big shout out to is Samaritan Purse.
Yes.
They have been there since freaking day one also.
Mhm.
And and I'm sure that you guys can spew off way a ton more of private organizations that have been down there since the very beginning. So I'm sorry. I agree with Trump. Let's defund FEMA. FEMA's organization, the only thing that their job is to respond to disasters. That's their only job. And they can't even do that. I thought after Katrina and their failure with Hurricane Katrina down in Louisiana, I thought maybe they would have learned something from that they would have been more educated from that storm. And they aren't. They are not, they have not improved their sources or their organization whatsoever. FEMA is absolutely useless. And I'm going to give you another example. And this isn't like as extreme as you guys, but St. Johnsbury, Vermont, 2 years ago had severe flooding up there from rains. And FEMA, they called for a state of emergency. FEMA showed up there. These people, this one lady had an article in the paper just last week. There was an article in the paper about this lady. She owned property in St. Johnsbury. She owned one of these strip malls where she had different businesses rent spaces from her. She she had over $100,000 worth of damage to her building. She put in an application to FEMA to get reimbursed so she could get that building fixed. She got denied because this is why she got denied. Now, marijuana is legal in Vermont. They have marijuana dispensaries, stores in Vermont. It's legal.
Yep.
But because one of her occupied spaces had a marijuana distillery in there, she got denied FEMA. They are not giving her one freaking penny to help her fix her building. This is FEMA, people. This is freaking FEMA. We need to defund them, I'm telling you, and start giving these private organizations the money.
Mhm.
It's just, and then Aorcus comes on. This was even before Milton hit. Aorcus comes on and publicly announces that FEMA is running out of money. And then all of a sudden, so Trump says, oh, FEMA's running out of money and we have another hurricane coming. All of a sudden, according to Biden and Harris, that's misinformation. How is it misinformation if Aorcus is saying it? How is that misinformation? It's like if he says it, it's misinformation. It's not true. Da 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 da. It just this storm should have never been politicalized.
Mm-hmm.
Politics should not have anything to do with sending resources in to help North Carolina or any devastating area.
Mm-hmm.
Politics should have nothing to do with it. And that's what they're doing, is they're centering everything around this whole storm with politics. And it pisses me off. You guys need help. You guys need help. And it's, I know how frustrated I am with all of it because I see what you guys are going through. I know what you guys need, and they're not sending you guys the help.
Yeah. It's funny. You literally took the thoughts right out of my mind with the I've even moved beyond angry because I'm just exhausted and sad that this apocalyptic and historic devastation that we're going through down here has been politicized in the way that it is, regardless of whatever party, left, right, independent, regardless, we're humans down here. And because I understand that we're close to an election, I get it, but we're down here dying. So, and the only thing that we personally are seeing here from ground zero is these private organizations, is the help from our community. I have to be honest with you, the $750 possible, application that you could, that we could get, that we haven't gotten, that we won't get, from the $750, that's just it's a slap in the face. A couple of other facts about, FEMA, to just throw it out there too, is that FEMA is not authorized in our disaster to help any small businesses. They are being directed to go apply for loans. So they're not authorized to help with any small businesses. The supposed $750 is per household. It's not even per person.
And my brother has spent almost $1,000 just buying supplies for neighbors. So he's like, that $750 that he's going to be getting from FEMA is really just paying himself back for him helping family members, neighbors. He's got a little old lady that is his girlfriend does cleaning for. They've been going every 2 or 3 days to drop off supplies because her road has been completely washed out. They have to actually walk through a creek and a small river to bring her supplies. Mm-hmm. This weekend, even as of this weekend, he was still having to do that. Bring her up water, bring her up soups, bring her up some stuff. And that's just one person per one stranded, one person helping out one stranded person. And there's countless stranded people right now that are the locals are still trying to help out.
Yeah.
They just found, I don't know if you guys heard, they just found a family of 11 that were dead. Mm-hmm. Had FEMA shown up when they did and were able to get the resources to them, they probably would still be alive today.
Yeah.
But it took them almost 2 weeks, or it did take them 2 weeks to find them. A family of 11. That is just heartbreaking. They won't even allow them to announce the death toll.
Yeah. That's so.
Why?
Another thing about that, because it's so high and because it's so technically unknown. So one of the logistical pieces too that people have to understand is like, when we were talking about some of the technicals about like when the storm hit and like what happened when the storm hit too with those massive mudslides. I mean, literally families, homes swept away.
Gone.
I've heard personally, I've heard a couple of stories about families being up around this area and then being located eventually underneath mud in a different state. I mean, I'm also hearing reports of some of these, rescue and or recovery, whatever needed, about people that are going in to sort of assess and figure out, and they're bringing like their rescue dogs as well, and they're alerting so then machinery can come in and start removing a lot of the debris and mud. So it was weird to me, especially early on when we first got communications back, to hear things like, oh, like confirmed 50 dead, confirmed that, because the scale of this, I have to be on, there's no way that it's not in the thousands.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still searching for the missing. There are massive Google lists that exist in groups on social media.
You go online and families from out of state are just posting pictures. My family member still hasn't been found. I went on today and I saw 4 of the new ones of their family members still not being found. They still have not heard from their family member. It's almost 3 weeks.
Mm.
And I mean, it's just, give me an idea. What is the population, say, in Black Mountain?
Population of Black Mountain is about 7,000 people.
Do you know what the population in Asheville is?
Hold on, let me look it up real quick. I know that it's interesting. The population of Asheville, because there's so much flocking to the area. There's mass. There's a lot of people coming to this area and relocating to this area, or at least there was before this. So I know that I've seen
376,000 people.
Yes.
In the metro area of Asheville.
Yep.
So and then
Swannanoa,
Black Mountain's about 8,000.
Yep. So Black Mountain's about 7. I think Swannanoa was about the same. I think it's about the same size as Black Mountain too. So it's interesting too. Yep. We talk about, like, don't get me wrong, Black Mountain and Swannanoa are separate, but because of the borders, a lot of us talk about it at almost like we're one and the same. Even our Chamber of Commerce is combined. So it's Black Mountain Swannanoa Chamber of Commerce. You know what I mean? So like, even though we do have some separate like town government in Black Mountain as they do in Swannanoa, like they are literally our neighbors. But like I said, because of the borders, we often identify as one and the same.
Now Montreat, that's just above you guys.
Yep,
I believe.
Montreat. Yep.
Now that's a very small town too.
Yes, Montreat's extremely small. I actually physically had never actually been into Montreat. I'd been towards Montreat, but not actually in Montreat itself.
Because that got hit pretty hard too.
Yes, it did. Montreat only has a population of about 900 people.
Wow.
Yep. Just
real
to
small.
Reference of size. Yep. Got hit very hard because, again, with it being north of us, so mountainous, right? Literally it's carved in the mountains.
Yeah.